unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard of the whole Jaguar uproar. I feel like every single person in the world, or it seems that way, is talking about Jaguar and how they've messed up and blah, blah, blah. There's one thing that I think everyone is missing when it comes to Jaguar's almost existing problems. So what I want to do is, before I get into that, just quickly recap, what's gone on over the past few weeks, where Jaguar is, what they've done, what the future looks like, what mistakes I think they've made, what they had to do, and I'm going to come up with my version of what I would have done as a web designer and somebody who owns a branding and graphic design company. There's so many things that Jaguar could have done here with regards to the brand before they made this major, major pivot. So to recap, Jaguar sort of overnight announced that on top of not making any cars at the moment, which is crazy in itself, and they're going to pivot into electric vehicles, which is fine, but they were completely doing away with the old logo. Again, a lot of these things are fine. They're going to do away with the old logo, do away with the focus on heritage, and then move towards a completely different segment of the market, which I don't even believe exists. So basically, they're going to target a completely new generation of people with their EV vehicles, still at in fact, at a higher price point than before. So right now, if you were to go onto Auto Trader, you'd probably see I think the electric vehicle is the I-Pace, which is a decent car, just unreliable. But you can probably pick one of those up for like 15K pre-owned. Jaguar has always had this issue with reliability and an issue with depreciation on their cars, like the F-Type, F-Pace, I-Pace, all the current roster. Oh, well, it's not the current roster anymore because they don't make them. But all the cars that they did make, they would depreciate. Same with Range Rovers, Land Rovers. It's all part of the same parent company. So they've had issues anyway. And this is why I didn't want to immediately jump on the bandwagon. I didn't want to be like, oh, Jaguar's bad, blah, 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 blah. Especially because this is obviously not a car channel. This is predominantly a web design channel. And for those who don't know, I design my websites on Squarespace. But for this video, it's not really that relevant until I show you the designs. So the issue is Jaguar has done this whole announcement. I was like, okay, let me give them some time. Let's see what they come out with. It could be really cool. They brought out the, I think it's called like the Type 00 or something like that. It's just not good. They say copy nothing, but it looks like a Rolls Royce, the new Rolls Royce EV. But like slightly squashed and with no back window. Forget any sort of tribalistic, I'm part of this party or this party. Forget all of that. It's just a naff design. Like, from a pure design standpoint, the logo is terrible. The whole brand is terrible. And the cars that we've seen so far are terrible. And then on top of that, they're going to be charging at least £100,000 for these models. It doesn't make sense. I do not believe that sector exists. If they have gone, from your traditional Jaguar buyer is a, middle-aged bloke who I assume has like money, to a younger, just any young audience doesn't have £100,000+ to spend on a luxury vehicle. That just doesn't exist. And if they did, they're going to buy, something like a BMW M5 CS, or they're going to buy at like 100K plus, a base model 911 from maybe a Porsche 911 from maybe a few years ago. They're not going to buy an EV from Jaguar that has terrible reliability issues and just doesn't have any heritage anymore. It's not cool. It is just not cool. The whole brand isn't cool. So that's my view on the brand. I don't really care for like, oh, it's gone woke, blah blah blah. Doesn't matter. The fact is, Jaguar needed a rebrand because, even though they were targeting middle-aged maybe they're like higher up in the businesses guys, well, they still weren't really flocking to buy Jaguars. Jaguar was becoming less and less cool because the brand, although it had all this amazing heritage, it was now becoming synonymous with reliability issues. It was way, way, way in the shadow of the sister company, Land Rover, Range Rover. And so what I asked myself is, well, okay, if you had billions to spend on a rebrand, a repositioning, well, what should you do? Well, you should go back to exactly what made you so great in the first place. Bold, sporty cars that people would aspire to actually own. Like, if you own a Porsche, well, that's immediately cool. If you own a Rolls Royce, which it's not quite in the same bracket, but they are doing EVs like Jaguar, then you're immediately cool. Like, that's amazing. And then the reliability, if you've got billions to spend, should be fixed. But then the question that I ask myself is, well, okay, all of that pales in comparison to brand and how the company positions themselves. And so the one thing that I think everybody's missing here is, well, what does Jaguar's website look like? And I had a look, and Jaguar's website, which we'll go through it in a little bit, is just really, really crap. So what I've done for this video is I've redesigned or reimagined some branding, just some basic branding for Jaguar. You know, it didn't need this huge overhaul. It could have just been improved and iterated on. And if they would fix the underlying issues and make Jaguar cool, like not like an old fuddy, like fussy brand, make it cool again, just like Range Rover did, then they wouldn't have to do this crazy pivot. So I've done like a little branding pack, then reimagine the homepage to show what Jaguar could be and what I believe it should have been. So to recap, the brand, you know, I wanted to sit back and have a think about it. Is it good? Well, no, but would the product be good in a few weeks' time when they debuted it? I think it was Miami Art Week. No, that's not good either. Okay, so we've got this, you know, this hot mess. Well, what do we need to do? If I was Jaguar right now, I would listen to all of this feedback. Like, I don't think anybody except the team at Jaguar thinks that this is a good thing. I feel like it's just been an entire landslide of people saying this is unequivocally terrible. So go back to the drawing board, rebrand, realign with what Jaguar is. Or you don't need to go and do a full 180. Maybe it's just like a 10 or a 20 into making it cooler, pushing it more towards a demographic who, okay, they are coming up. It doesn't have to be just old guys. Make it cool to everyone within a certain price range. Okay, Jaguar is a luxury brand first and foremost, or it should be. And so the branding should be aligned with that. The website should be aligned with that. The messaging should be aligned with a market that already exists. It's going to be, let's say, if you want a younger audience, it's going to be like 30 to 50-ish. The older generation will probably look at Jaguar Classics or Aston Martins or Bentleys and go for that. But, you know, 30 to 50, maybe they can't quite afford an Aston Martin or a Bentley. Any younger, and I just don't think that market exists. I don't know personally of any sub 30-year-old who has £100,000 lying around to spend on an EV. If they did have £100,000 lying around anyway, they'd want to put money on a mortgage or something like that and get on the property ladder or whatever it is. Point being, there is a very small segment and there's already a lot of competition in there. So we need to make sure that we have the best branding, the best website, and the best messaging possible. The thing that just baffles me is Range Rover do this so well. Range Rover, everyone wants a Range Rover despite the terrible reliability, despite the astronomical price. Everyone still wants one. Same with Land Rover. And it's not just one demographic. It's not just the old guys. You know, every single person that you speak to would be like, yeah, I would like a Land Rover. I'd like a Range Rover. They are cool. They're just point blank a really cool car, and they are an object of desire. That's what we need to do for Jaguar. It's like, it should be or like a Range Rover's sporty older brother, sporty, cooler older brother. That's what it should be. Jaguar has always been the villain's car. Lean into it. That is already cool. So fix your reliability, fix your branding, fix your messaging, get in front of the right people. Right, rant over. So what I'm going to do is first off show you Jaguar's website, because there was already issues. I mean, we haven't gone full rebrand on the site yet. Maybe they're going to change it, but I will show you. It's abysmal. There were things that could have been fixed and, leave everything else. Fix these small things, and that would have resulted in millions, if not tens of millions, of improved sales. Then I'll show you a small branding pack that we've done, then a small homepage reimagining that we've done. Then at the end, we'll do like a little recap, go to everything, and then hopefully someone at Jaguar will pick up the phone and say, Sam, you're the guy, do our website. But anyway, that's where we are, and now let's get into it. So you can see here, we're on the Jaguar side, right? What is this? So if I design this for the client and I send it over, the expletives would be off the charts. Like, let me move me and look here. This huge white space at the bottom of the footer. What? Like, this is a multi-hundred million, if not billion-dollar car company, and this is what they have. It makes no sense. So, like, the footer is okay to a degree, but the homepage, at least make this full bleed. At least. It just, when we look at everything, right, it just does not make any sense. Like, this gap doesn't match this gap. There's no cohesiveness at all to this page. So let's explore this, okay? We'll see more, because this was the page that I was blown away. Oh no, this isn't the page actually. This one isn't as bad as first thought, but this looks like something that you would get on Fiverr for $200. If we break it down, you've got a header, then you've got image, text, video, some text, a gallery, text, video, text. With Stay Inspired, so I guess Stay in Touch, this is a newsletter element. There isn't even a space to put in your name and email to sign up here. You need to click again, then a pop-up which takes forever to load. Then you've got to select a market. Then it's going to take you to another place, and then it's going to try and sign you up there. Doesn't make any sense. So I looked at this and I thought, well, none of this tells me really about Jaguar. Like, if I look at this homepage, I'm not told about the phenomenal heritage and prestige of Jaguar. And I know they're trying to pivot away from this, but the point is, they shouldn't be. They should be celebrating what they have and building upon that, because, we have hundreds of manufacturers, EV manufacturers popping up who are making better quality cars than most established legacy brands. They have no heritage, but they have a really decent quality product at a much cheaper price. It's probably going to be better than this. So if you're Jaguar, what is your competitive edge? Well, it's certainly not starting over again and butchering the branding. This could be a random startup. That logo could have just been AI generated. The whole thing, to be honest, looks AI generated. So I know that I'm having a whinge here, but it's just to highlight that Jaguar had problems anyway. So when I actually was sort of doing the outline for this video, they didn't have this on the homepage. It was just still the old Jag, and it was just the same. The picture was just different. And so this was already the Jaguar website. It was terrible. So no wonder they had dwindling sales because, okay, the F-Type was really cool. I-Pace had potential and I assume sold quite a lot. F-Pace was pretty decent and targeted the SUV market, but their social media, their website is just naff. You need a website, and this is a lesson for all businesses. Your website is the heartbeat of your brand. It's your corner of the internet. You own that space. You can put whatever you want on there. So don't skimp out. Don't try and get it done cheap. Don't think it doesn't matter because you have a social media team or this or that or whatever. This is where you tell your story, you weave your narrative, you take control of your brand. It's all about you. It's not in a sea of other brands, other people vying for attention. This is where you craft your edge in the market. And this is where Jaguar have been really tripping up because before this, it was terrible. After it, I mean, it might even be better, to be fair, but the brand itself is, again, still terrible. And so what I want to do is show you the brand. And this is just a small thing, but just an idea, almost like a thought exercise of what they could have done and the direction that they could have went in. So what you're seeing here is this is called Figma. This is basically where we do some branding and we do some website mock-ups here. So first off, we've done some logos because the Leaper is an icon. I've mentioned Rolls-Royce a couple of times, but it's the same as the Spirit of Ecstasy. It is synonymous with the brand. And yes, I know they have the small thing that goes through the lines. I don't know what they call the lines, but they have that. But then the GU in the middle of the Jaguar, and then the upside down J, like opposite each other. Not good, not good. So we've done a type logo and an icon logo as well. We've got the Leaper. And if we're going to move into the EV, the futuristic sort of vibe, well, okay, let's have some sharp edges. So we sharpened up everything around here. You can see, well, when I hover, it goes like this. Okay, there we go. So you can see everything sharpened up, a bit more of a futuristic twist. But me personally, I like softer lines. So what we did here is just the Leaper, much softer lined, and then softer. It's not completely soft, but a softer font. I really like this. This was my favorite one that we did. Let me zoom in just so you can see the final one that we came on here. I think this is a much cooler logo than what they currently have. I mean, to be fair, I could throw some cottage pie at the wall and it would look cooler than the logo that they currently have. But, after a few iterations, I mean, this took us 2 days to put together. Me and the team went back and forth between, they come back to me with this initially. And I was like, it's okay. Like, it's a bit futuristic, but I wanted something softer. So you can see we iterated through and through and through. We keep that heritage. Everyone knows the Leaper. And then we have this nice new typeface here. And then if we drop down, we put that into some mock-ups. So we have a bento grid with some ideas in here. Now, we had a blue. I wasn't overawed by the blue, so I vetoed that and we went with the green. But then we started putting that mock-up. As you can see, in the app, we built a color palette. And you can see in here what the logo would look like embossed on various elements of the car. So just a small exercise, but just seeing it in situ is a nice way to visualize it. And now my speciality is websites. And so this was what really irked me about the whole Jaguar situation. I don't think anybody was talking about the websites because everyone's so focused on the car, obviously, but then like the ad itself, because they were like, oh, there's no car in there. Yep. Well, they don't make cars at the minute, so they can't put a car in there. But, no one was talking about the existing issues with their current website, with their current brand. It was outdated, it was stale, but all it needed was an injection, a slight revamp, slight realignment. Brands have been recapturing younger markets in decade after decade, or generation after generation. You don't have to go and alienate everyone to try and please an audience that honestly doesn't exist. So this is what I imagined for the website. Now, again, we have the blue, we had this green in here, which is quite nice, but I settled on this sort of slate black here. So if I go into here, we'll get the mockups. So we'll go to the end page, and you can see how this would look as a website. So if I put myself, where's the best place to put me? There we go, that'll do. In fact, what I can do is shrink me all the way down. Perfect. So we've got this bold hero section, copy nothing. This is aspirational. We've got the F-type, SVR. It is just unequivocally an amazing, amazing car. I test drove one of these and it was just so, so good. And, look at that backdrop. That's what Jaguar should be. Super, super cool. And this is official Jaguar imagery, mind you. They have this stuff. They just don't really put it on the site whatsoever. And it doesn't make any sense. Like, where are these images? Where are they being shown? Well, they should be shown in a hero section saying, look at this Jag. It's in that satin black finish, the villain's car. It is cool. Any person from 0 years old to 100 years old would want to drive one of these. It's just cool. Now, again, we could change the tagline, copy nothing. They kind of have copied every EV ever. So we should probably change that. Crafted for the bold, make it aspirational. Again, we can change all of this, but the setup is what we should be looking for. So we want people to experience this. We want to get people through the door and say, book now. So we want to get people, we got book now for a test drive up here. You can see we've got a hamburger menu as well. So the menu will drop down or it will come out. The reason for this is, and you can have a play around with this, but really the point of this particular website, in my opinion, is we want to get people through the door. We want to make them aspire to what is on this web page. It's not a car that you buy with your head. It's a car that you buy with your heart. So we want people to get excited and make it really easy for people to book that test drive. So we've got a call to action here, book now. We've got test drive, which will always stay there in that header section, test drive. And by hiding the menu, it focuses the user's eye on test drive all the time. If they want to look at other pages, then they're going to have to click up here, which may bring them to the test drive. They may go, oh, I'll just book the test drive. As soon as someone experiences that V8 or whatever the car is, if Jaguar focused on making cool cars, this is the way into people's hearts. So we go down and you can scroll through models. This is just a mock-up, so it doesn't scroll through, but you would just scroll through all the different types of cars that Jaguar have on offer. Now, as long as those cars are as cool or as functional or hold as much prestige as an F-Type. So the Jaguar makes cars for lots of different demographics. You've got the SUVs for families. You've got the saloons for the executives or the people who want to be driven around or whatever it is. You've got the sporty F-Types and you've got the I-Pace, like the electrified fleet. Now, you imagine you plonk the pink and the blue and the Type 00. It's just not going to have the same effect. This is aspirational to who your target market should be with the Jaguar. And we go down, we've got the iconic Leaper. We're going to talk about power, comfort, safety. This mostly is just AI generated, so I wouldn't worry too much about the copy. Here we could actually talk more about the heritage. So we could have an E-Type here. We could have an old XJR, and we could say something like, a powerful bloodline, and the Leaper is leaping through. There's lots that we can do here, and yet Jaguar just aren't doing it. Again, reserve now. We can allow people to configure their cars on the website. Reserve like Tesla do. And I remember back in the day, I actually went on Jaguar's configurator when I was about 8 years old. And it was so easy to access. You could choose the color of the leather. You could choose the color of the car. You could reserve the car on Jaguar's website. I remember showing my friends. And I think it was what was the one with the funny, like a oblongy grill? I can't remember the name of it. But I was like, this is what I want. This is what I want. And I could get so excited. Jaguars were a car you could get excited about. And this is what we need to do. We need to make it cool. So reserve now. And then what the cars offer. So look how amazing Jaguar is. Highlight all of the beautiful details. And what you can see, we're just highlighting with these nice touches. We are signifying the quality of the Jaguar product with this beautiful iconography. We've got the frosted glass, the beautiful, beautiful photography, landscapes. This, it just doesn't compare. Like when you look at the like AI generated pink and blue weird space background, it doesn't compare. Jaguar is never going to be the sensible car. So you need to have aspirational product imagery. You need to have things that appeal to the senses. And this is what this bento box is trying to do here. How we make your life easier, how we make you stand out, how we make your journey even better. The ventilated seats, heated seats. We've got park assist. At the end of the day, a lot of these are going to be Grand Tours. They're going to be GT cars. And so play into that. Now we go down. We talk more about the spec. And again, so we've got some details here. When people buy cars, they love to nerd out on the specs. I don't know about you guys, but when I go on Auto Trader and I'm looking at cars, I'll always be like, okay, 0 to 60, engine size, boot capacity, all of the small things to get excited about the car. So we're showing off the spec, showing off the features, and we're actually showing off another type of Jag finally. But again, just highlighting 0 to 60. I think that's an XJ. That definitely doesn't do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. But you can see how we're highlighting power, speed. It's what it's about. I mean, it's quite childish, but when you're buying a car like a Jaguar, you want to know how fast it goes. You want to know how luxurious it is. You want Jaguar to shout about how great they are and feel like when everyone looks at you, they're thinking how great you are as well. That's the whole point of this car. And this is what Jaguar are missing is people buy a Jaguar because they think it makes them look cool. Oftentimes it does. And so we need to play into this. Then just let people go through what Jaguar has. Let us go through the old concept cars. Like, what was is it the XJ220, like the 200 mile an hour supercar that they done? And then the one that was in the James Bond film that's just been actually made for real. Then go through the racing pedigree. I mean, we've got here Jaguar reliability, because what I was talking about before, if you can realign Jaguar with creating beautiful, reliable cars, then you automatically start to win again. We need to make it cool. We need to make people aware of all the amazing things that Jaguar does and that they build. Talk about that history. Build on the history. You have to build the new generation. But a lot of that will boil down to reliability. So fixing that and shouting about it, making bulletproof V8s, making the best EV platforms, whatever it is, that needs to be one of the key goals. And so we need to shout about that. But also, yeah, talk about the concept cars, because they make really cool ones. And, I can't remember the guy's name, the guy who presented the new designs. He said, we don't want to make concept cars that don't make it into production. And so talk about this. Like, these are all things that Jaguar can shout about. And then we come down to the footer here. We're actually capturing people's emails for newsletter subscription instead of making them click like 3 times to then be able to add their email and the details in. And then just a nice Jag typeface down there. And then just a nice minimal setup so people can navigate back through social media, about Jaguar, talking about Jaguar Classic News, Heritage Trust, etc. These are all things that Jaguar cannot let go of. By moving the way that they are now, they are doing a disservice to past cars. The value of the past cars are going down. They're destroying a legacy. And I don't want that to happen to Jaguar. I personally am someone who absolutely loved Jaguars growing up as a kid. I still think they're exceptionally cool. I don't want to see the brand die because of a misguided marketing effort. I understand why they had to do it, but there are so many things that could have been done before such a hard pivot that, yes, got the world talking about Jaguar, but not in a good way. I don't know how many cars they will shift. I would assume nowhere near as many as they thought they would in those marketing meetings. So Jaguar, please, 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 just have a rethink. Try and reposition yourselves where realistically you should be. And guys, if anyone has made it this far, please make sure to leave a like and hit subscribe if you like this sort of content. And if you want me and my team to rebrand your business and also redesign and rebuild your website, you can get in touch using the links in the description.